Well, just when we were having fun, I think we had like 24 people in here. Just got a $20 super chat from the great Boulder Johnny, and bam, the roof came out from under me. So I apologize, boys and girls. That's why you guys are in the Earl Army. You guys are soldiers. So I'm not sure where we all cut off. I'll wait for a few more people to get back in here and we'll try and rejoin the conversation where we left off at. I believe I was talking about someone super chatting Gino $200 just to get Kevin Brennan mad, which I found funny. We're back. I don't know what happened. I would think that my Wi-Fi would be pretty good right now, given that it's 10 p.m. and most people in my neighborhood are sleeping or about to sleep. But that's hit the like button. We got to get the numbers back to where the stream left off. But yes, we're back for more, like AC/DC has said, like the band Rat has said. So sorry about that. You guys know what the situation is with my Wi-Fi. It just is what it is, which is another reason I can't wait to move. But we got some people coming in. Conservative Colin. Is it Colin or Colin? I don't want to mispronounce here. Do you have Ethernet? I've got a 5G hotspot from my phone. That's my best internet. I've got local internet through the landline, but okay. Yes, it did sour milk. And then I have a router right there. And I know you guys probably think I'm bullshitting, but I'm giving you the best I got until I move and get fiber optic. And like when I release a short and I'm by a Starbucks, the thing fucking loads in like 2 seconds. So, uh, and I've had people over here. I've had Verizon over here. I've had Time Warner, who I use. I've had Comcast, and they all were like, dude, you're just in the worst area for Wi-Fi because there's just no towers around here. And you're kind of just, I'm pretty close to the canyons. So that unfortunately hurts too. So until I move, yes, Dylan, I mean, it does make sense. It probably seems that I'm just being lazy or too cheap to pay. I would love to pay for fiber optic or whatever the newest technology would allow me to have. Even the Comedy Store doesn't have great Wi-Fi. Um, Chris Holmes over to swim. No, I'm good on that. I got Chris Holmes into Motorhead once, and he offered to give me a hot dog. I said no, thank you. Um, well, I'm right basically in front of the canyon that separates the valley from the west side. So that probably has something to do with the shitty Wi-Fi. Plus, in my neighborhood, like I could literally touch the building that's across my balcony from me. So it's the Wi-Fi has to kind of go in between buildings, um, which kind of sucks. But um, I try and pick times. I think late at night the Wi-Fi would be good because not that many people are on it. But I might be wrong. Like I know my neighbors to the left and right of me, they're both into politics, so they go to sleep really early, so they're not on it. But yeah, that's the funny thing is DirecTV. I will say this is great. I've had very few outages with DirecTV, and I've had DirecTV since '98, maybe '97. and I could count the number of outages I've had on one hand. Rest in peace, Anne Heche. Just couldn't control her demons. Thank you very much. Shout out to Jordan the Lion. Check out his travel vlog, the number one travel vlog on the internet, I think. And Jordan is someone who gives me motivation, because Jordan, once was out here doing the acting thing and had, like, I don't know, a couple hundred subscribers on his YouTube channel. It took him a long time to grow it. And now he literally has like 400,000 subscribers on YouTube. Oh, the money I could make with that amount of subscribers. Whew. Get those wrestling goobers in on these streams. Do you need a girl to ride a stick horse at your shows? I mean, I never say never to anything. I'm from the belief of whatever gets a laugh. If I got to whip my dick out to get a laugh, I'll do that. If I got to have a girl riding a stick horse, I'll do that. Whatever it takes. Uh, well, that's the thing. I have a new phone, new iPhone, so the hotspot should be fucking golden ponies, but it's not. I mean, and lately, the last two streams, about 48 minutes, 50 minutes in, it just stops. And well, because I've never taken a picture with the rapper Bobby Brown. What up, Brian? We've almost got the stream back up to acceptable post Wi-Fi blowout numbers. Hit the like button if you can. I know it's late night for some of you guys. It's 10:07 p.m. Big Black in the house. We have a celebrity to pump up the numbers. What up? Just checking. We had a nice stream going, Big Black, and then Earl's magical mystery Wi-Fi just blew up after a very nice super chat by Boulder Johnny. $20. I don't get many chocolate colored chats. Now Gino Visconti got I think it was like whatever that color was, bright red, $200 super chat, just because Kevin Brennan was sniping Gino, and some fan of Gino's wanted to piss Kevin off, so he sent Gino a $200 super chat. Yes, thank you, Colin. Thank you, Call, for hitting the like button. It is Dabbleverse related, but I was just talking about super chats, and Boulder Johnny gave me a very nice super chat, and then my Wi-Fi blew out. So I was just we were talking about super chat budgets for people, and did you hear Richard Simmons' cause of death? Oh, no, I did not. Well, I mean, he was old, and to be honest with you, he wasn't that healthy. I mean, if you look at Richard Simmons, he did not look healthy, even in his prime. But it's been a rough couple days for celebrity deaths. I mean, you had Richard Simmons, you had Dr. Ruth, you had Jelly Bean Joe Bryant today. James Kamala Harris is, and then. Who else died? James Sicking, if you are a fan of the movie, as you guys know, I am, The Star Chamber. He passed away today. He was also in Hill Street Blues. We are back live, Boulder Johnny. Yeah, Shannon Doherty died. I mean, the Alf Kid died. I mean, it's like, I don't recall a stretch like this in quite a while. I mean, usually they say they die in threes, but the last week it's been pretty brutal. And Donald Trump, that would be a good live stream. Yeah, actually, maybe I'll do that. Maybe I'll do that this Sunday night, the Shelby gangbang, because that's relative proximity. Where was I living? I was living in the Fay Ray building at the time. So we could start Century Park East and Olympic. We could go to Doheny and Beverly, and then I could show you the hotel she was living in, and then we lost touch. No, I was too young to be partying with Alice Cooper, but my friend Ryan Roxy plays, with him right now, and Nita Strauss has been on Inappropriate Earl twice. Uh, yeah, but I don't recall this many people dying in this much of a small cluster. I bet Jordan the Lion pounded a lot of beaver. Uh, who is gayer, the Dowell versus Richard Simmons? That's a tough one. That's a tough one. Dr. Ruth was a dirty old battle axe. Well, I wouldn't say that. I know Keith Richards still alive. Just played 2 2-hour concerts last week in LA. Um, Gene being funny, not on purpose. Uh, who's Gene? Gino or Gene? Is Piercy? Yes, Piercy is still alive, dude. And probably the healthiest he's ever been in quite a while. Well, you think, people from the 80s are, they partied hard, man. I agree with that, Boulder Johnny. And shout out to Amanda Percy Pringle. I know he's dead. He, of course, that is who later went on to be Paul Bearer. Thank you very much. Percy Pringle, one of the original managers of Rick Rude, another deceased wrestler. Um, yeah, Dr. Ruth, she was ahead of her time. I mean, you can't really name another sex therapist. Uh, I mean, yeah, Ric Flair is like that. I mean, that guy, you got to figure anyone in the late 70s and early 80s, like a Ric Flair or Keith Richards, the cocaine that they were doing was basically pure cocaine. I mean, now it's laced with fentanyl, so you got to be careful with that. But like, can you imagine the quality of cocaine that Keith Richards and Ric Flair had access to? I bet Dr. Ruth gave great head. I mean, she probably did. I mean, if she practiced what she preached, um, what up, Grimace and Pain? We were having a nice stream. Boulder Johnny did a lovely super chat, and then right after the $20 super chat, my Wi-Fi went off. Someone was sabotaged us. Yeah, I mean, but it was pure cocaine. Well, I don't. I get groupies at the Comedy Store. I don't get too many online groupies. I mean, usually I will get a DM from someone who saw my show at the Comedy Store, and but I half the time I feel like I'm being set up, so I ask a lot of questions, a lot of questions. I mean, I had a DM from someone the other day. She looked fucking 12. And I was like, "Hey, man," so I tested her, uh, like with questions, and if she took a while to immediately answer, but um, well, I do have, and he didn't die from a heart attack, Rick James. Days, I do. Several of his exes reach out to me. And I'm like, I don't want to be involved, because that happens a lot at the Comedy Store. I mean, Jordan knows this. Whenever someone breaks up with someone, they want to make the person feel bad, so they'll contact a popular comic at the store, and like, I'm not getting involved in that drama. Um, but so I prefer most of my interactions with women to happen face to face. If they're at the Comedy Store has a great um, security team, so there's no underage girls getting in at the Comedy Store. So I feel very comfortable anytime a female strikes up a conversation with me at the Comedy Store that they are of age. My mom had dinner. Here's another story. My mom had dinner with Clint Eastwood when she was pregnant with me, and she told Clint Eastwood, "You'll never make it in this business. You're too nice." Well, I mean, at least I know they're of age, Dr. Chow. Yes, my favorite wrestling manager is Gary Hart when he was managing Killer Brooks and of course Abdullah the Butcher. The main room women's bathroom was a sex room. Well, the green room too. It's a different era now, but you know, it was the Clint Eastwood was hot. That first Dirty Harry was a real like really the first couple Dirty Harrys. He was a very but it hit me that Clint Eastwood was born in 1930. So that I think that first Dirty Harry movie was 71. He was already 41 in like that first Dirty Harry movie. Um, I'm about to hit the shisha. I don't know what that means. Is that code word for Amanda? Uh, no, no one's ever contacted me for a job at AEW. I would be so down though. Uh, I'm sure someone has, Queen on. I'm sure someone has. Another under the radar movie, and I think it was probably supposed to be a Dirty Harry movie, and for whatever reason they made it something else, was The Gauntlet. Clint Eastwood has Ben Shockley. Um, yeah, Sandra Locke played the hooker in The Gauntlet. Great cast. Uh, and the bad guy, I forget the older guy with the white hair in The Gauntlet. He was a great bad guy. When do they see Tommy Morris? When do they add? Wait, when do they add Tommy Morris's name to the Comedy Store wall? Probably never. That's probably the one name you will never see on the Comedy Store wall. I heard Eastwood had to get a little wacky with Sandra, too mouthy. I mean, back then you could hit a girl; it was considered cool. Any part. I'd like to play the orangutan in the Any Which Way But Loose or Every Which Way You Can movie. I remember the first time I watched Red Dawn. It was in a movie theater in Westwood. Hit the like button, babies. Hit the like button. Earl, tougher gang, the baseball Furies or the Warriors? Well, I mean, the Warriors made it all the way to the end. Interesting enough, one of my favorite actors from that era, Steve James, he was the black guy. He was like the go-to black guy in the action movies, Delta Force, and I think American Ninja. Apparently, he was one of the baseball Furies. I've tried to find him, but I guess they are in Kiss makeup. Walter Hill was a big Kiss fan, so that explains. Did I go to high school with Ruth Gordon? Get the fuck out of here. Have you seen the new Beverly Hills Cop? I have not, but I hear it's not that bad. I hear the first 10 minutes are a little rough, according to, I believe, Ryan O'Neal, and then it gets going. Clint put some Johnny Act Right on a few of those mouthy women of the 70s. I love used cars. Toby, the dog. Look out, Marshall Lucky. It's high prices. That movie was so funny. I'm watching Chris Van Leet's newest interview with Cody Rhodes. I love Chris Van Leet. I've never been to the Houdini estate. I've been to the Playboy Mansion twice. I've been to, I think it was the Hilton House, the very famous Hilton House. I think that is for sale now for $155 million or something crazy like that. It's off the 6th hole of Bel Air Country Club. And this house is definitely the nicest house I've ever been in. This house is so fucking nice that I went into the pool house and I thought it was the main house. That's how nice the pool house was. But then I started seeing some things that I felt uncomfortable with, and I had to leave the party. I got lost in the driveway. It's a massive house. Does the Playboy Mansion have a green room? I guess the arcade room would be what would be considered the green room. I mean, I don't know whose house it was necessarily. If it was Kathy Hilton, Conrad Hilton, I just know it was a Hilton house, and it was probably the nicest home in Bel Air. Do you think Kathy Hilton is attractive for an old woman? Yeah, I don't think she's too bad. Kathy Ireland. Now you're talking. I mean, she was one of the greats. Kathy Ireland, Paulina Porsakova, Who else back then got my weenie wet? Raquel Welch, she has some pretty big jugs. I mean, I'm a big, you want an under the radar playmate. She's never really talked about, but let me spell the name so you guys can beat off to her later. But see, I don't have a producer here, so I got to do this stuff on my own. See, isn't it weird how the Wi-Fi went out and now it's fine? Petra Burkike. Look up Petra Burkike. See, if the Wi-Fi didn't go out, we'd be going on an hour and a half stream right now. But thank you very. How many houses had direct tunnels into the Playboy Mansion? There were 5. Can you name them? I can't name one of them, to be honest with you, but I could. Did you ever meet Hugh Hefner? I met him once or twice in passing. He didn't want to meet any fucking dudes. You know, so I mean, just a fist bump. Hey, Hef, how you doing? Barbie Benton. Barbie Benton, not Benson. She's probably still around. Probably lives in an apartment in Westwood. I mean, Hefner was brutal with those girls. Once they got a little older and like lost their looks, see ya, new crop brought in. All in the Family was probably my first comedy influence. Just the way Archie Bunker would say so many awful things, but he was still likable. I always tried to that's how I do my stand up now. Like say some wacky things, but have people still like me. Do you believe the stories that Hugh would cry to get his way? Yeah, he was a fucking creep, apparently. I was in love with Tawny Katane. When Tawny Katane would come to the Comedy Store, like I was on stage many a night in the main room when she would just walk in the main room and sit down, and she just had an energy and a presence to her that very few people have. Yeah, I mean, apparently, if you believe some of those documentaries that have been done about the Playboy Mansion, it was a pretty rapey culture. I believe she did. I believe she did. And I think, oddly enough, Jordan, she had a crush on me because I never tried to fuck her, and she knew I liked her. Like she knew I liked, obviously, the music she was associated with. Uh, Jack Nicholson, Leo, Getty. I mean, all kinds of fucking pigs were at the. I mean, the first time I snuck into the Playboy Mansion, I walked in and Vince Neil was there. Actually, Pauly Shore was walking out. Vince Neil was there. I'm like, this is a good party. Uh, how was it working on Real Rob? Well, Real Rob, it was a real guerrilla shoot. I mean, Rob had rented out this dispensary on Melrose, and we had like 4 hours in and out. We had to get everything done. So, the scene where the girl's blowing me, I thought that was my only scene. And then, so I start leaving, and Rob goes, "What the fuck are you doing?" I'm like, "I'm leaving." She's like, "We got another scene to do." And it's the scene where I start naming all the different kinds of strains of weed and what they do to them. But that was a tough scene for me because I was nervous, and I had, and Jordan knows this, but like when you see a scene, every scene is probably 7 to 8 takes. And then they pick the best one. Well, I had to say like 6 or 7 different strains of weed and the effects of what they do, but I didn't really have time to memorize the lines. So I'm lucky I have a very good memory. So it worked out though. Um, so uh, oh, that's great, Mrs. Roper. I met David Lee Roth once at Santa Anita Racetrack. Well, that's why you can do $20 super chats. You got the money, honey. Yes, Petra Verkijk. Um, I think someone uh, Velo. Yeah, I mean, I mean, I like her face, but like the tits are like natural, and I mean, she's put on a little weight in recent years, but like back in her Playmate days, what a body, man. I mean, whew, did I beat off to her a lot. I met David Lee Roth at Santa Anita Racetrack when me and my buddy, the deceased golf caddy from Bel Air Country Club, the great Johnny Cinder. We went to the racetrack, and Johnny liked to smoke the marijuana, and he lights up a joint, and all of a sudden I hear this voice go, "You got the right idea." And I'm like, "I know that voice." And I look over, and it was like David Lee Roth and on the DL, dressed like Svengali. And so him and Johnny Cinder smoked out, and I just was like trying to look cool. Larry, the horny neighbor. Good luck with that, AC/DC. I don't listen to Tom Waits. It's not that I'm not a fan. I just, I like 80s butt rock. Uh, Frank Zappa's music was just too nuanced for me, to be honest with you. You're not shy about beating off. No, I'm not. Uh, Earl, there has to be a way to document this shit without shitting on everybody, but getting the stories out. Yeah, I mean, like that David Lee Roth story. Like, it's a fun story. I don't think he would mind it. I don't think it's a stretch that I would, uh, or my friend would smoke weed with David Lee Roth in the infield at Santa Anita. How often did Piper quietly egg you on to chime in something funny to a guest? Every episode. And I know some of the fans didn't like me, but you know what? They didn't know that, I was only on Roddy's podcast because Roddy wanted me on it. Excuse me. How often did I? Yes, you did hear Svengali. Adam Nicole Smith was, along with Petra Verkijk, maybe my dream threesome. Did you see the A&E documentary on Sebastian Bach? I have not. Lois is sleeping right now. She's had a pretty good night. We went for a pretty long walk, and she is now sleeping. That's cool. Ultimately, the stories are just hilarious. Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of funny stories, for sure. So Sunday night, while it's in my head and Jordan is in the stream, maybe we'll do the Shelby Gangbang um, tour. Of course, it'll have to be pretty late because about 10 o'clock. We'll do 10 o'clock. I would kill an interview with Gary Busey. Drink some water, Earl. I'm not thirsty right now, but I will soon. 3 more minutes, guys, and then we're going to end the stream. It only looks like we've done a half-hour stream, but if you piggyback the first stream, we've done over an hour and a half. Thank you very much. Any interesting Mitzi Shore stories? I only really met Mitzi once, and that was when she was watching Potluck with Ari Shafir, and she wasn't in the best shape, so I didn't want to meet her. I didn't want to meet that Mitzi. Uh, Lois lives forever, but you have to quit comedy. I don't know if I would, Doug. I'll take a look at it, Dingbat. That's a tough one. I mean, I probably could get Gary Busey at this point. Uh, Good one man. Yeah, I did. I mean, I would have a good one man show. Uh, who was writing it? Probably Desmond Child. Uh, um, have you ever met Andre the Giant? I never met Andre the Giant. I did meet Kamala. Uh, she sounded like an awful person to most people. Well, I mean, it was definitely a different era. She was the only woman basically in an all man's business. Uh, Yeah, I mean, I was just in her office a couple months, or not a couple months ago, but was it last year with Bray Wyatt? It's the first time I've ever been in her office. It was pretty amazing. Like, it is still untouched from the 70s. Yeah, I mean, Jordan knows it's a pretty iconic. I mean, nothing has been changed. It smells like the 70s, but it doesn't smell. It just smells like the 70s. Was she the one that banned Seinfeld? I don't think she banned Seinfeld. I just think she said you can't perform here. He wasn't banned. Have you ever met Alex in the shop? Get out of town, dude. Mitzi was tougher than yeah. I mean, she was cutthroat, man. It's the same carpet. Yeah, I guess you'd call it old carpet. Smells like Argus dirty undies. That comedy. Oh, 100% the comedy store is haunted. No doubt about that. Like, the comedy store is haunted. Faux show. Um, but it doesn't smell though, like, but it's awesome. Like her desk is untouched. There's still scripts that were sent to her from the late 70s, early 80s. Allegedly. I bet Paulie had Ernest. I mean, Paulie's pretty funny, man. Paulie is like the guitar player CC DeVille from Poison. You look at CC DeVille with the neon guitars and the fucking pink hair and all that. And he's a classically trained guitar player. He grew up playing like Bach and Beethoven on the guitar. Brendan Schaub did not kill at the Comedy Store. I can assure you of that much. But I don't have a problem with Brendan. I know this is not going to be uh, popular in here, but the few times I've interacted with Schaub, he's always been pretty nice, to be honest with you. No beef with Schaub. Do I think he's funny? I don't. But he also doesn't work at it. Could he be funny? I mean, he's likable in that Jethro Bodine, Goober and Gomer kind of way. So, but you got to work at comedy. You just can't fucking wing it like he did. Um, he was lucky enough to have a huge help from the number one podcaster and comic in the world. And, anyone would have done that. Even if you weren't ready. Joe Rogan says, I want to help you become a comic. You got it. What? Yes, sir, boss. I'm fucking football. Do we have a new are you new to the stream? Welcome to the jungle, baby. I'm assuming you think Esther Pravitsky is funny, right? She's funny to her fan base, and that's really all that matters. She's got um, she's done what I'm trying to do, what any comic's trying to do. You find a group of people who think you're funny, and you play to them. I can't hate on that. Matt Rife is funny to his fans. Um, Maron's funny to if you take Maron fans and put them in a Matt Rife concert, they'll probably walk out. And if you put Matt Rife fans in a Maron concert, they'll probably walk out. Now both guys are funny, so why are people walking out? So she's not funny at all. Let's keep it real. I think she's funny to her fan base. There's people who don't think I'm funny, but I'm funny. But not everyone is gonna like you. So is she George Carlin? No, she's not. But um, you know, I think she's funny. But she works her ass off. Like unlike Schaub, who, I've seen Esther at hundreds of open mics and whatnot, and she's part of a new breed that's funny on TikTok, funny on reels on Instagram. So I mean that's another segment or section of being funny. Like I'm funnier on stage than I am TikTok. If Holtzman wouldn't laugh, she's not funny. Uh, yeah, I mean, Schaub. Um, I mean, like his comedy's rough. There's just no way around that. Uh, well, I feel bad for Schaub because um, all his friends were famous comics, Rogan, Callan, D'Elia, Hinchcliffe, Theo, Santino, et cetera, et cetera. And so, like when they all go out and are hanging out at the Comedy Store, and like he's he's a square peg in the round hole. So he probably accelerated his path so he could say, well, I have a special too now, guys. But it's pretty rough. I love Alan Hallsworth. Mudsharks Unite, what up? I hear Kevin Brennan podcasts on the side. Barry Sobel was once a hot comedian. Age takes away the charm and leaves the talent. Yeah, I mean, Barry Sobel was once probably one of the go-to young comics on the scene, but it never really, after I think Revenge of the Nerds too. I mean, he always worked, but I would say his window had passed. Um, Well, that's a good guy to have as a friend, Bobby Lee. Well, I don't think, there's different kinds of funny. Um, yeah, but I've heard Joe Coy's a joke thief. I don't know enough about him, to be honest with you. I've only met him once at the Comedy Store. He's not a Comedy Store guy. So, but I would agree with what Jordan just said. Um, I mean, Matt Rife works hard, though. I mean, I've known him for years, and he was not an overnight success. I mean, he was a guy who, up until about 3 years ago, had trouble getting booked on anything other than his own show at the Laugh Factory. So I respect his work ethic. Um, and Esther has a fan base. I mean, that's the thing. Once you get a fan base. To be honest with you, you don't have to be fucking funny. Like uh, I'm sure if you put Matt Rife fans in my show, they'd be like, "Oh, this guy sucks." But you know, I know I'm funny. Have you done shows at the Ice House? Yeah, but I don't think the new booker there likes me, so it's all good. Uh, I mean, I'm not saying I don't know enough about Joe Coy to say he's not funny. I mean, clearly, when you fill arenas, you're funny, but um, he does work hard on his abs. I mean, he does have a great body. I'll give him that. Um, how powerful was Chris D'Elia's dad? He's very powerful. He was like a junior Dick Wolf. Uh, you know, Once you get a fan base, it turns into storytelling. Yeah, 100%. Like I walked in, I told the story before, so I'll tell the abbreviated version of the story just to, you know, not bore you guys. I was in the OR hallway waiting to go on in the original room. By the way, I'm in the original room tomorrow night, 11:30. If you guys are local to the store, come on down, babies. And Matt Rife was in the main room. It was on a Wednesday night. He sold out 2 shows in the main room on a Wednesday night. 2 different shows. So it's not like the same audience and they just stayed for the second show. That's impressive right there. Now, I got to feed the comic before me in the OR, just got the light. So I said, fuck it. I'm going to just watch him for a few minutes. And unfortunately for Matt, I walked in right at the point where he's like, I think I just forgot my next joke. I think I'll just take my shirt off. And he started mocking that or pretending he was going to take off his shirt. And the crowd erupted like the Beatles had just hit the room. So when you can do that, you don't have to be funny. Um, Peter Chicken Man Brennan, what up, baby doll? Did Fred Fortune ever reach Schaub funny level? Not really. The Chicken Man. That reminds me. Thank you, Boulder Johnny, once again for your generous super chat in the first stream. This is part 2. Uh, yeah, I mean, those award shows are brutal. They're no win. I mean, listen, he definitely bombed. I mean, he was like the 4th choice. So to me, I blame Joe Coy's situation on his manager. And I'll guess, knowing managers like I know them, that this guy bullshitted Joe Coy and said, "Oh, they wanted you, your first choice." And he only had 10 days. Probably hired a bunch of outside writers that he didn't know, and he bombed. There's just no doubt about it. But I think most people would have bombed. It's very, Ricky Gervais should host every award show because he writes a lot of his own shit. And so, fucking football. The reason I bring her name up is because I heard some comic shit on her on the Danish and O'Neill podcast. I mean, listen, I don't tell other comics or other people who to think is funny. I mean, she's very likable, so she can navigate elements in her comedy set of not being funny with her likableness, which is a skill. I mean, not every joke of mine kills, but I get out of it because I'm so goofy. Shab no longer tours. He moved on to his kids' trucks and podcasts, and I respect him for leaving the scene. Well, you can fool an audience once. You're not going to fool them twice. But Junior Dick Wolf, that's huge. I know we're talking about D'Elia's dad, and I mean that as a compliment. I mean, Dick Wolf is the man. Has been doing successful shows since Miami Vice. Um, so I don't know who Vince Champ is. I know he got into trouble for rape or something, but I don't know who he is. Football, that's because, yes, Esther dated, I think she dated Red Band at one point. Love Tony Hinchcliffe, fellow pro wrestling fan, 100%. Numbers keep climbing, Earl. I know, I just wish this fucking Wi-Fi wouldn't have cut out. We probably had 50 people on the stream. Uh, well, I think, there's different kinds of talent. What is talent? Some people are really funny on TikTok, and then their stand-up sucks. Some people like me, I'm really good at stand-up, but my social media in terms of YouTube and Reels and Shorts, I mean, I'm finding my niche with Shorts, the Earl Skakel Hollywood Minute, but I'm not terribly funny on TikTok. Much Earl has just as many viewers as Ray DeVito tonight. Keep it up or pass Jim and Mo time. I'm 52 years old. I definitely respect Hollisworth. Joe Coy stole a bunch of jokes from Edwin San Juan. Yeah, I mean, Edwin San Juan's fucking funny. And he's a great guy. So I had to Google, I don't know who Rich Graham is. Well, I just think, those award shows are all industry. They're the worst. It's like, when I audition for TV shows, like, or I used to, I don't really do it anymore. Audition for like Just for Laughs or The Tonight Show. It's all agents and managers. So the crowds suck. And, those award shows are every fucking A-list actor in town and their agents and managers. And they're all fucking worried about what's going to be joked about them or their clients, or if their clients are going to win the award or whatever. And so they're not really listening for jokes. I mean, Norm Macdonald was really good on the ESPYS that one year and the White House Correspondents' Dinner, but award shows hosting them, it's really a no-win situation for sure. Tits and likability do correlate. Can someone be a good roaster without being a good stand-up? Yeah, well, someone can be a very good roast battler and not be a good stand-up. I mean, I've always found, with rare exceptions, I would say, like me, Tiana, Mike Lawrence, we're both good roasters and good comics. But like, you look at like roast battle, most great elite level roasters are not good stand-ups. Um, how about that country broad singer last night? Yeeks, that was pretty rough. Big fan of yours. No jokes. Love all your LA references. Well, thank you, fucking football. I appreciate you being new to the stream and come back. Come back for more. Did you ever hear the Dave Chappelle joke? His dad walks in on him jacking off. He says, "Move over." Hello. Let me ask you this as a comic. Do you think you could execute material pre-written for you? It feels forced. Well, I'd have to pick. Like if someone said, "Earl, do you want to host the Golden Globes?" I would call Sarah Tiana because her and I are like really good friends, and I would call like Ryan O'Neal. I would call people who get my sense of humor. I think that was probably, and I don't know who wrote for Joe Coy for that award show, but I would guess it was just a bunch of outside writers thrown together at the last minute. And that's why a lot of the Comedy Central or I guess Netflix roast now aren't good because you like I wrote for Dr. Ken on the Alec Baldwin roast, and because he wasn't happy with what the writers were giving him. Now, me and Dr. Ken are friends, so it worked because he's a wrestling guy, so we had a good vibe. But I'll guess that Joe Coy, it was such a last minute gig that he was doing jokes written by people he probably to this day has never met. So I'm mad Larry the Cable Guy has a mansion. Nowadays with Jordan the Lion, come on, I know what you're trying to do. Are you turning on me? Is this a turn? Is this an MJF turn? Um, I don't mind Larry the Cable Guy getting a mansion. Anyone who makes money in stand up, I'm a fan of. I'm a fan of Carrot Top. I'm a fan of Larry the Cable Guy. I don't necessarily like their comedy, but like knowing how hard it is to turn a buck in this business, I'm okay with that. Ray is a great roaster, but not a great stand up. I mean, uh, but see, I don't count those Zoom roasts. That's not roasting. I mean, roasting is what I did on TV, roast battle, where you're live and, you know, if you want to call someone fat, great. They're on stage next to you and they're going to call you something too. And it's going to be instant and there's going to be a live crowd and it's a lot more nerve wracking. I mean, those online roast battles are a joke. Anyone, if I'm roasting Dr. Chow, and I'm okay, me and Dr. Chow, let's roast. And I'm looking at my sheet of notes. Dr. Chow is so blah, 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 blah. That's not hard to do at all. But if Dr. Chow is right next to me and I could say something mean about him, but 2 seconds later, he's going to say something mean about me. And you've got the adrenaline of the live audience. And you hear when a joke bombs, it gets even more crazier, the atmosphere. That's a roast battle. Yeah, Zoom isn't a roast. Nick DiPaolo, yeah, I mean, I would have like Aaron Berg, even though we don't know each other that well. Like, I think we're very similar style of humor. Um, Ken Jeong is great. I won't lie, I'm not the biggest Jeff Ross fan. Uh, I mean, listen, what can I say? Like I said, I don't tell people who they should think is funny or not. Accuse Jeremy, yeah, but like what I did with Jeremy Piven, I went right up into the belly room, looked across at him, and ripped on the guy. Jeff Ross is go away heat to me. Is Yamanika Sanders a good roast battler? I've never really watched any of her battles. I know she battled my friend Jamar. Um, so I can't answer that. My favorite era of Earl was hating on Piven on a daily basis. I just ran out of things to say, to be honest with you. And he never really did anything to me. So I was kayfabe. It was kayfabe. I just ran out of mean things to say. So, um, but it was the golden days of Earl. Now I'm just and thank you, Peter Chicken Man Brennan, for your super chat, along with Boulder Johnny from the previous stream. We're now coming upon the same mark where the Wi-Fi went out, so fingers crossed. Jeff Ross is Baron Corbin. Heat turn the TV off when he's there. Well, that's your opinion, Teddy. I can't tell you you're right or wrong. On a mission to spread awareness about Richard Jeni's greatness. He was very funny. Original wave hacks. The original, the all Negro wave. Uh, it's like Leonard Skinner. There was just people in and out of the wave on a weekly basis, and then the wave was good when it became, who was it? Jamar, Willie Hunter, and Jeremiah. But I think the wave was more of a live thing. Like on TV, it didn't work because I don't believe season one, the wave had their own camera. So, the wave almost cost me my first roast battle against Tom Ballard in Montreal because Tom had nailed me with a really good joke. And, I had the rebuttal ready. And just as I'm about to say the rebuttal, the wave came on. They did their thing, jumping up and down and all that bullshit. And so I had to wait for them to leave and the crowd to calm down. And then I did the rebuttal to Tom's joke from 30 seconds ago, and it didn't really work. And Tom Ballard, he was my first, he was my second TV roast battle, but my first roast battle in Montreal. He's one who's a great comic and roaster. I mean, he killed Hinchcliffe in the untelevised season. Probably had my favorite line ever, and I can't really say the line because of the language, but Tony was just hammering Tom on being gay. And for Tom's last joke, he said, "Tony, I might be gay, but you're a maggot." And man, it was like, oh, game over. ACDC 5150 $1.99. Thank you very much. Earl, here's my change from the massage parlor today. Yeah, I'm not really following that Jack Black story. I used to work out next to Jack Black at Equinox. Um, So, I don't know what happened there. I guess his buddy said something about Trump. Golden Artist Entertainment will be calling to sign you after the stream. Maybe. I mean, they have worse. Was Jack Knight kicked off the original wave? No, his manager was like, "Hey, you got to get off this show. This is like, And she might have been right. I think it was a she. Of course, in the untelevised show, who did Jack Knight roast battle? He did a dark match. Roast battle. There was an underground season of roast battle. It was untelevised, and it was basically, I think, for Jeff and his lovely manager and Comedy Central execs to see what works, what doesn't work. Like they had Joe DeRosa against Jimmy Carr, and that was really funny because Joe started bombing, and then he just started riffing. You think it's fucking easy battling this UK robot? And then Jack Knight had battled. I forget who he had battled, but it was a bad battle. It just wasn't good. And Wanda Sykes was like, I don't think Wanda got what roast battle was about. She didn't get like the racist and the homophobic jokes. It was like part of the show. She just looks at Jack Knight and go, "You suck," and you could tell it hurt him. Like, oh, I didn't even want to do it. You could tell he was like, I didn't even want to do this show. So, not a fan of Wanda Sykes. Tony's trademark unlikability is something that will turn on him one day, I feel. You can't be a cunt all the time and expect it to last. Took me 10 years to tap out, but I sure did. Can't stand him anymore. I mean, Tony, I think, has lived by the sword, died by the sword. So you might be right. I mean, right now, he's riding high. Yeah, I mean, you can't deny Kill Tony playing what is it? Arenas and theaters. I mean, I remember the first Kill Tony I did the panel on. I did do two Kill Tonys as the Iron Patriot guy. I remember there's probably 20, 25 people in the Belly Room, audience and comics and panelists. And I'm like, this show sucks. But, you certainly can't deny the success that it is now. I love Tom Cassidy. I thought he was the best one on the Kevin Brennan roast. Very, very funny guy. DeRosa was the doctor on Better Call Saul. Never watched it, so I don't. I can't say I remember that. Oh, I love Tom Cassidy. Do you remember when Ric Flair? I don't watch Kill Tony, so I obviously know about Ric Flair walking off, but I don't. I think Rick was just drunk and, he was probably misled a little bit on terms of what the show was about. And he probably just started looking around at all these unknown comics and he was like, who the fuck are these bozos? I'm Ric Flair. See you. Have you seen Dante's Netflix special? No, and I don't believe anyone else has either. Lewis stole the show that night. Yeah, I mean, I'll take your word for it. I didn't watch it. So, like I can't shit on Ric Flair and Kill Tony because I didn't watch it. But, I much liked how, on the Ric Flair roast, all the comics from me, Shuley, Dan St. Germain, Tyler Morrison, Cassio, John Moses, we were all fans of Rick. So we shit on him, but we were like clearly all geeked out to be there. Shane Gillis is great. Very nice guy, too. Yeah, I mean, I think Tony. I mean, listen, when you're all, it's like with roast battle. There were nights when I was doing the heckler. When very few nights I didn't have a good night, but there were some nights when people get you, and it's kind of embarrassing. Like I remember one time I was going back and forth with Joe Earl, who's one of the better roast battle comics, and he's the kid in the wheelchair, and he's kind of hard to understand at times. I think he has like MS or something. And, I got off a good line on him. I'm like, Joe, you sound like you're talking underwater. And he just instantly looked at me and goes, yeah, like your career. And he got me, like that's the thing. You take a swing and, I had a bad night the rest of the night because, someone else got the laugh. So I'm sure every now and then someone else gets the best of Tony, and it happens. Hey Earl, the cousin who jumped out of the tree with the 9 iron. It's a different skakel. It's a different skakel. There's many skakel families out there. Uh, I did not know Lewis back then. I don't know who Joe Blue is. So, all right, kiddies. We've hit the 55-minute mark. We're going to go another 5 minutes. And then I've got to walk Lois. I mean, the only thing I would say, Ryan, that I didn't like about what happened that night is I was the only one who Brad Nestling didn't introduce. So when there was a commercial break, they just went right into me standing there. So I would have preferred to have uh, Nestling go, hey, next up, him from Bench Warmers and Roast Battle and the Jellies. Give it up for Earl Skakel. I didn't get that. I just started. But an awesome experience. I mean, that was 2 years ago, and I was just going through a bad breakup. So I really needed that time to just not think about the person. And, but, I can't. Maybe I'll stream my walk with Lois. Who knows? I think Ric Flair had a blast because he all knew we were wrestling fans, and he was around his friends. That was the difference between the Ric Flair roast and Kill Tony was, also on the stage was Eric Bischoff, Diamond Dallas Page, Ty Domi, Vicky Guerrero, and in the crowd were his family and a lot of wrestlers, and the whole weekend was built around Rick. So I think it was done in a very respectful way. Yeah, Bully Ray, who I sat next to, and so did Roddy Piper do Booger Sugar? Not when I knew him, but I think probably in the '80s he did. The Yayo. So I think that was the big difference between um, the Ric Flair roast and Kill Tony. Yes, hockey. Ty Domi was awesome. He's friends with Ric Flair. And, a lot of other people were supposed to be there. Sting, I wish Sting would have been there. I think The Rock and John Cena were supposed to be there, but, I'll just assume. I mean, that would have been so neat to be on a dais with The Rock. And I could have gotten him pretty good. Like, Rock, what are you, the Stallone of this era? It's okay to say no to a script. I know. You were my favorite one, Ron. I'm like, my name's Earl. Hey, man, you take the question straight on. 100%. 100%. Peter Chicken Man Brennan. Man, you might. Wow. Not many people know that Tiffany Haddish battled Sarah Tiana, and it was brutal. I mean, Sarah's an animal, and I mean that in a complimentary way. I mean, the worst roast battle performance I ever personally witnessed was Ralphie May, and not against Mike Lawrence, but against Sarah Tiana. I think this is probably when they were thinking about putting Ralphie on the TV show, so they had Ralphie do a roast battle against Sarah Tiana, and Sarah's just, she's a great writer, she's a great comic. And in terms of roast battle, she's hard to battle because she's just gonna smile at you, and she's really pretty. And Ralphie was just doing like street jokes, like Sarah, your breath is so bad it makes onions cry. Like that's a joke I heard in the third fucking grade. So unfortunately, that was probably the worst. I mean, it was such a bad battle. I don't even think they said, Sarah, you won. They just ended it. Like it was that bad. So well, I think the problem with Ryan, with the problem with Ty Domi, yes, Roddy was great in They Love. The problem with Ty Domi, Ryan, was that the teleprompter froze on him. So he kinda was like, "Oh, fuck." Um, so because he went on right before me, which, he's a great guy, though. He gave me his phone number. He's like, "Anytime you need something, call me." Oh, I'm happy it did Ben Jones. Tiffany Haddish bombed against Tiana because she just tried to wing it. She tried to do the Ralphie May and wing it. Um, so, um, just you can't wing it. When you're going up against an elite level roast battler, you can't wing it, man. You gotta be prepared. You gotta have rebuttals to what you think they're gonna say about you. Like, I know in any roast battle I do or that I did, I'll never roast battle again. I mean, really, I beat Jimmy Carr and I got nothing out of it, so why would I battle a local LA comic? Um, you go, "Okay, they're gonna talk about the Kennedys, they're gonna talk about your young girlfriends, so have rebuttals for it. They're gonna talk about my age, so have a rebuttal for it." And, I mean, I try and be a cool dude. I mean, I'm trying to we've done almost 2 hours tonight if you count the other stream, which I think cut out at about 52 minutes. And we're not stream sniping anyone. We're not doing the Dabbleverse in here. And, we're just a nice friendly stream. And, you guys are helping me grow my YouTube channel. Let me thank my tippers today. I always like to make the fan funders feel good. Thank you, Peter Chicken Man Brennan and ACDC 5150. And thank you very much to Boulder Johnny in the first stream for a $20 super chat. Thank you very much. Um, I know. I didn't watch the Republican convention. I'll watch a little bit of it before I walk Lois. Uh, I just love that Trump, when he got shot, said the first thing he said was, "Get my shoes, get my shoes." That's a Jew for you. Trump has to be Jewish. There's no way anyone else would be like, "Hey, get my shoes, get my wing tips, bitch." I know you probably don't talk about him much, but it became because of Stefan Adika. I know you. Well, no, I love Stefan Adika. Stefan's one of the few comics that actually, well, he's not really a comic. He makes me laugh when he would do the funniest things I've ever seen were Stefan Adika cold calling old people to sell real estate. Scott Fitzpatrick, no filter. Fuck yeah. Earl, you're a cool dude, and you remind me to be accepting of all. I get a lot of from watching you be a good human. Well, I try and be a good human, but I'm in a business that makes it very hard to be a good human. Trump has Bruno Mali shoes like OJ. I'm. He strikes me as a Bruno Mali guy. Mickey, Earl, you do what you do. You don't hide, and I have total respect. Good job, man. Always worth the time. Well, I appreciate it. I mean, obviously, I'm not going to lie. I wish there was 220 people in here instead of 22. But I would say the stream. I think I've been monetized since January. So here in the middle of July, I would say that the channel's grown a little bit. I think I've added 1,000 subscribers in about 8 months. Do I wish it was 10,000 subscribers? Absolutely. But, you know, what can I do? Uh, I learned my lesson from buying followers on my podcast. So, I think 2,500 or so subscribers I have here are all legit. They're all legit on Instagram and Twitter as well. It's funny, on Instagram and Twitter, I have the exact same number of followers. I think it's about close to 12,000 on each one. So um, Earl is the best. Treats his fans like gold. Solid dude. I tried to ACDC. I realized I could probably make more money and have more people in here if I talked shit about Kevin or Chad or, Jeff Ross or whatever. But it's just I'm 55, man. Or if I talked bad about ex-girlfriends or whatever. Yeah, I mean, that was not a real number one. Update on the live stream of the common Boone gas station hoses. That was Boone's favorite gas station was the one on Fairfax and Melrose, right outside Fairfax High. Probably like to look at those young boys. If you're having a crap day, Earl Streams can put a smile on your face. That's the plan. You get more in these streams if you give more. When do we get the special? These teasers are amazing. Well, I got to find the place. I got to find the right venue, Jordan. So I hope sooner than later. I mean, it won't be necessarily anytime soon, but I did talk to Pete and Ryan last week, and we're revisiting locations. Ray would not have a chance against me in a roast battle live. I don't do Zoom roast battles. I have a side of me. When I roast battle, I'm in it. And, when I'm motivated, I'm almost unbeatable in roast battle. Of course, anyone can lose. I lost 3 times. But when I'm motivated, and I'll never roast battle again. And I'm not from a school of never say never. I mean, I should say I'm from a school of never say never. There's always a situation that could pop up where you'll do something. But if beating Comedy Central's #1 roast writer, beating Tom Ballard, beating Jimmy Carr, beating K. Trevor Wilson in Canada got me literally nothing, why would I battle Ray or anyone else? I'm at the point in my comedy career where I've got to get something out of it if I'm going to do something. So J.D. Vance is a very odd pick. His company, Ambrosia, is very suspect. Well, they're all cucking to Trump. J.D. Vance hates Trump, but, hey, listen, this is the start of his presidential campaign in 4 years. In 4 years, the Republicans are going to need someone relatively young. He is. And he's well-spoken. So, we'll see what happens. Yeah, I mean, I don't work for free anymore. I turned down a lot of gigs that 5, 10 years ago I easily would have done. I mean, if I could join Conrad's podcast or maybe be a guest host, that would be huge for me because then you get the wrestling fans in my stream. It takes time sometimes. Lunella is hitting harder now more than ever in her career. It happens. Yeah, I mean, I'm in it to win it. I'm in comedy for the right reasons. I'm not in it to make money. Peter Chicken Man Brennan, did you perform at David Pierce's funeral? I was invited, but I did not. I saw David Pierce 2 weeks before he died, and although he didn't look the healthiest, I never would have guessed 2 weeks later he'd be dead. Yeah, I mean, I'm not going to roast battle ever again live. It's just, like I said, when you beat Jimmy Carr, who's arguably the #1 comic in the world, I mean, he plays arenas, he plays in venues that the Killers play in, and it didn't get me one meeting, didn't get me anything. I didn't even get another season of roast battle. When you beat K. Trevor Wilson, a Canadian icon in Montreal, got me nothing. Didn't even ever get invited back to JFL. And K. Trevor's like awesome. I didn't even know the All-Star game was. Well, the funny thing is, I was so mad at Roast Battle when I got back. They gave us some shorts. I threw those away. Some boxing shorts. They were kind of cool, actually. I wish I kept them. But then one night I'm walking Lois, and this is when it was really cold in LA. Like it was like in the low 30s, basically freezing. It was just a really weird cold front. And at night, the homeless people were just shivering. So I'm walking Lois. I've got shorts on and my roast battle hoodie. It says my name here, and then a big Jeff Ross Presents Roast Battle on the back. So I walk by, I see this homeless guy shivering, and it was only about a block from my home. So I gave the homeless guy my roast battle hoodie. And then the next night, I'm walking same amount, a distance from my house, and I see the guy taking a shit, wiping his ass on the logo. I thought, you know what? That's better than keeping the hoodie. Well, there's talks about doing that, Jordan. There's talks about, putting the documentary out first, or putting the documentary and then like a 30-minute special at the end of it. I personally would rather put the documentary out first and then put the special out. I mean, I want it to be different. And that would be the only special in the history of comedy specials to put out basically a prequel to the special. Um, Love Conrad Thompson. He's done such a great job with ad-free shows and the network of podcasts he created. He reinforces why I'm proud to be a wrestling fan. I mean, like, when I move and get my next house, I will have Bill Gates level Wi-Fi. And then, maybe I could get a show on Conrad's network. Um, yeah, I mean, and that's not even the best version of the teaser. I was so excited when Pete sent me that. I put it out right away. And he's like, "Oh no, take it down because I'm sending you one with better sound and recoloring or something." I'm like, "It's too late, bro." Um, so thank you. I know a lot of fans didn't like me and Roddy because they're like, "Who the fuck is this guy?" But Roddy wanted me on. All right, you kids. It's been a 2-hour stream if you count the first stream, which I do. So thank you, Peter Chicken Man Brennan. Thank you, ACDC and Boulder Johnny for the super chats. It's Tuesday night. Roast battle's happening tonight. And that would be funny if I went in there in disguise and just taped a roast battle to show you guys, just kind of walk up the stairs in disguise. But I have a spot there tomorrow night. I don't really go to the Comedy Store unless I have a spot. Every now and then I swear, not too much. Kamala, the vice president, or Kamala the wrestler? Hello. Earl Skakel over and out. You can please. I'm trying to put out a short a day, so watch those if you can. Putting some clips of my stand up in lieu of the special right now, but it's just to whet people's appetite. Son of Billy Wagner. See you later. See everyone later. Probably do a stream tomorrow night. I might do a stream, an Earlverse Big Brother. Big Brother starts tomorrow night. That's a popular show. So I might do a Big Brother recap show. But if you don't watch Big Brother, maybe I won't. But I'm always trying to. Well, Lois, she's kind of up right now. I can hear her. I'm always trying to figure out. Tomorrow night's a Dynamite. Now maybe I could do the Big Brother recap show on Thursday night. But then again, Big Brother, if they're sticking to the format, it airs Wednesday, Thursday, Sunday. So, maybe I'll do a late night Big Brother recap. That show's all about casting. You got to have a catty gay guy. You got to have a sassy black person. You got to have a girl with big tits, and whatnot. So, we'll probably do a stream tomorrow night after Big Brother, but it'll be around this time because I believe, the convention probably fucks up the TV slots at the moment, but I believe Big Brother might be 9 p.m. West Coast time. So I'll figure it out. I'll let you guys know on Twitter. Earl Skakel, over and out.